Hey, just a quick video here to show you what I've been up to. I've got some projects on the go. Next week I've got a bunch of videos that are going to be dropping, so make sure you stay tuned for some top secret new stuff. And I also wanted to show you this project that I'm working on, because in a week and a half or so I'm going to be on the Reason Livestream. And it'd be great to have you out there sort of hanging out, probably for an hour, hour and a half or something like that, as Ryan and I just kind of chew the fat. And Ryan is awesome. I can't wait to hang out with him, even if it's just on Zoom. So what I wanted to do in this last week is create a song that is made entirely in Reason. So this is Reason 11, and I was a Reason user way back in version 1, and that was a really long time ago. And I pretty much cut my teeth on that kind of software. So I used Reason 1 for a long time, back before you could record audio. I also used Cubase, and me and one of my best pals were making tons of music for a company out in Japan, and we did that for about 10 years. And I kept everything a little bit more streamlined and just stayed right inside Cubase. And when Reason 11 came out as a rack device, I was like, oh yeah, you know what? I miss Reason. So I wanted to try out Reason just using its sequencer, even though I mostly use Reason as a rack device. So I'll show you this little tune and just talk a little bit about some of the things I noticed with it. I'm still working on the song, but I will be definitely uploading a video with the final version of the song, and I'll talk a little bit more about using Reason as a sequencer and as a production sort of workhorse DAW. And so let's just have a look at the song. So what I did for this one is I went back to one of my very best friends of all time, Toby Crawford, and got her to come up with some words. So I came up with a very simple chord progression that started out with this kind of weird A minor to A flat major 7 to B flat major 7. Really interesting chord progression. And then the chorus goes kind of into F minor. Sent it off to her, and within a day she sent back her vocal idea. And so what we've got here is a rough version of the song. I'm going to add some real horns on the chorus. She sent me 3 vocal takes so I could try some comping. I think what I'm going to have to do is get her to redo the vocals and maybe get her into a space that's a little bit less echoey, because it has a little bit too much reverb on it. Other than that, it sounds great. Her voice is amazing, and she is an incredible jazz musician. So I'll just play a little bit for you.
I knew I was the one who didn't want to stay. I took myself and walked away. You didn't stop me anyway. The troubles we've been having really got me down. There wasn't any middle ground. You're giving me the runaround. But baby, listen, I don't want to lose you. Since leaving I've been so blue. Please take me back. The problems we were having are in the past. There is a pleasant forecast if you take me back.
Gives you an idea of the song. I've got another verse, another chorus, and then a little solo piece, and then a final chorus. So I've got to do some work on the mix. I've got to do some work on kind of the instrumentation, the arrangement, and how it builds throughout the song, but it's pretty close right now, and sometimes that just means stripping some stuff away. Anyways, what did I find after working with Reason for basically a few days, trying to wrestle with how you sequence and arrange music in this program? And how does it compare to Cubase and Machine? And if you had Reason and that's all you had, then I think 100% you've got yourself an extremely capable DAW. Like, there's no question about it. The stuff they've added with audio recording in the last probably whatever it is, 10 years, you've got comping abilities. And so if I look at this little chunk right here and click Comp Edit, you can see how the comping works. I've got a bounced comp right here, but earlier what I did is I went through and I did a vocal comp, which is a big thing for me, the ability to comp audio, and it's something I've been talking about in Machine and something I've talked about in Cubase, but it is a fairly comprehensive comping system, which I'll go over in a future video as well. It also has pitch correction, and that's what I was using in the harmonies here. I just took Toby's main vocal and did a couple quick harmonies out of that. You'll hear, obviously, it sounds fake.
The troubles we've been having really got me down. There wasn't any middle ground.
Just like Very Audio in Cubase, and similar in a lot of ways to Melodyne. And I will say, out of all of those programs, of course, Melodyne is still my favorite. It's still the best pitch correction tool out there. But can you do enough in Reason to get away with it? And of course you can. Just listen to this one take right here.
The troubles we've been having really got me down.
So I could take this note and move all of them up one semitone.
The troubles we've been having really got me down.
And do something crazy.
Really got me down.
It's all of these tools that come with, you know, the main version of Reason plus the studio version of Reason. So if you buy this program with the intent of using it just for the rack devices, say you're a Machine user, well then you could still use Reason to do some of this fine tuning of pitch correction and stuff like that. And you could also do professional mastering inside Reason. So if you're buying Reason just to use as a rack device, understand that it comes with all of this other stuff built into the main program. Doesn't mean you have to use this program for everything you do, but it does mean you could drop in a vocal, do some pitch correction, and then bring it back into Machine or something like that. And then subtle pitch correction, say on the main vocal, works extremely well. So you could have some notes that are just a little bit sharp or a little bit flat. So here's the main vocal.
The troubles we've been having really got me down.
So if that's just a little bit flat, I can make sure that the transpose here is set to fine, and I can just move this note a little bit higher. And I like that pitch feedback too, so you can hear what note you're on.
They got me down.
And you can go in and straighten out the pitch as well. So you can see it kind of drops into the pitch, and then there's vibrato right here. So that is the pitch correction in Reason, really decent. And then the main thing, of course, about Reason is the instruments and the way you can work with them. You know, I've got some patches in here that are inside a Combinator. So a Combinator is that device that can take a whole bunch of devices and have them all respond on one track. And that's what I did with the bass in here. So here's my bass Combinator, and I just set this one up on my own. I've got a very simple sample that I stole from a Machine expansion pack. And then I've got a Parsec bass that's also playing right there. And so I've got those two patches. And both of them are going into this tiny little mixer, and I can control the levels of them independently, the pan and stuff like that. And then of course I can save this as a patch for later use. And a little bit more about the drums on here. What I did is I used a program called Kitmaker. And one of my fans on YouTube told me about Kitmaker, and then I saw that Ave Macree has a couple videos on Kitmaker, so make sure you go check that out. I made some kits out of my favorite expansions and then brought them into Kong. So I should really do a separate video for that, but all I did was create the samples, and then if I go over to my browser in Reason, I can see numbered kits, and it doesn't make Kong kits for you. All it does is take each one of your favorite expansion kits, and as long as they're just samples and not like synthesizer patches, some of them will say empty, gives you 16 different samples that you can then drag onto Kong. All you have to do is select all of the samples and drag them onto the first slice in Kong, and it'll populate throughout the rest of them. And now you're playing your favorite expansion pack inside Kong instead of Machine. So that is one way to get more use out of the expansion packs. I'll put a link to Kitmaker in the description. Really great software, and definitely go check out Ave Macree's video as well. As for the rest of the song, it just took me a while to get used to some of the really basic things like navigating a song, some key commands, and that's another thing that I'd love to see them add more of in Reason is key commands, because customizability of key commands in a program like Cubase is what makes it so powerful and what makes it so fast to edit, because you can just pretty much anything you could think of as far as a function goes in Cubase, you can make a key command for. Using the good old stuff in Reason, so many neat little effects like the scream distortion, this audiomatic lo-fi. I will say for sure that it feels so snappy. Like there's plug-in delay compensation in here, which is great. It just felt really responsive when I was playing. The CPU seems fine. I've got a load of tracks in here right now. Time stretching, the ability to just change the tempo of the song and your audio changes with it. Let's just take this from 72 and take it down to 62.
I knew I was the one who didn't want to stay. I took myself and walked away. You didn't stop me anyway.
Like, that sounds really good. Their time stretching algorithm is fantastic, and you don't have to do anything to it, right? Like, it just automatically changes it. So I'm quite impressed with the time stretching. And then the other thing they've got in here is blocks, and blocks are kind of a way of working with chunks of information, kind of like we do in Machine with patterns. And so they do have that methodology as well. You can sit there and work on a block for a while, just like we do as a pattern in Reason, and then you work on the next block, and then you can draw them out just like we would in Machine as well. So lots of crossover. And the mixer is beautiful, lots of great effects in there, and everything sounds pretty good. All in all, my experience of coming back to Reason after a long time, a very long time away, was very positive. Forcing myself to do something like this, which is frustrating when you're first working with it, is valuable, because then I can see what is in this program, and then as an educator, I can help people make better decisions on what kind of software they're getting, and know what's available in all the programs out there. Well, not all of them, but in a few of them. So just go make something, you know, grab a program that you've got, maybe something you haven't used for a while or for a very long time, and try making some music. Give yourself a little challenge to see if you can come up with something good on it, whether it's a little device or whether it's a piece of software you haven't touched in a long time. But it's great when you dig into something and exercise a different part of your brain. We get so stuck in our routines using the same programs. So I do like the fact that it forced me to think outside the box and come up with something a little bit different. So anyways, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.